Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe. And please rate and review the show. Reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm your host, Wayne Lou. I'm joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. This will be the one show on the station today. It is not primarily Leafs talk, although I did watch that game and like everyone else, very, very excited that the Maple Leafs are moving on. That's the extent of my hockey knowledge, so good job, buds.
Yeah,
How you doing, Alex? Do you have more hockey knowledge for us?
Well, you've been running around the office every time you see a hockey person, and all you're doing is screaming "Team of Destiny."
Yes.
Is this your thing for this entire playoff run right now?
Yeah, I mean, I just noticed that like Leafs fans are, a little nervous. I know
Insecure.
I'm the first one to notice this one. But
scared.
even after they got up 3-1, everyone in the office was just kind of just like, I don't know. I mean, this and that. And I was just like, no, I've been telling everyone Team of Destiny. Not that I know hockey or not that anything else. Not even that I necessarily believe it. But just like, I think people need that kind of like confidence boost. And now that they've done it, I feel like, the common refrain you've heard is they got the monkey off their back. And it kind of reminds me of like when the Raptors finally were able to win a first-round series in a best-of-7, right? Because for the longest time, they only had that one best-of-5 series win. Shouts to Alvin, shouts to the New York Knicks.
Classic series.
Right? Yeah, I was in grade 2.
Yeah, you were on the other side of the world.
But then they made the playoffs in 2014 and lost in 7. They made the playoffs in 2015. They got swept by Randy Whitman's Washington Wizards.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Whitman, a candidate for the Raptors' first ever head coaching job. Now that I'm reading, prehistoric.
That was my that Washington series, the first series I covered as a journalist.
Got you.
Flew to Washington, watched 2 great games.
No
No AC fan flight on that one.
No, my version of AC Fan Flight for that one was I took a go bus from Toronto to Hamilton, but not the direct one. That's 45 minutes, the 3-hour one, which if you catch it too late, you have to catch that one. And I wrote my entire like post-game 3 column when you kind of just like, all right, we're resigned to the fact that we're getting swept. And it was one of the most depressing reads.
Or what about the time I took a Greyhound with Blake Murphy for Game 6 of the 2016 Eastern Conference, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Cleveland.
Right.
We couldn't find our media seats, and by the time we sat down, I believe it was 43 to like 13 for the Cavs.
So anyway, the Raptors have also had not the same extent as Leafs fans.
No, all heartbreak is the same.
When I finally got to 2016 though, and the Raptors finally beat the Pacers, and that series was also like so hard, even though it was 1-8.
Yeah. My God, was that a 1-8?
That was
2-7.
1-8.
I want to say 2-7.
Was that 2-7?
Yeah, I want to say
maybe
2-7.
it was 2-7.
Yeah.
But regardless, like it was not anticipated for it to be that difficult. The Raptors had won 56 games that year, but it was still like just so frustrating. There was the Game 5 that was that I'll never forget, where Solomon Hill hit a 3 that would have, I think, either won the game or forced overtime, and the ball had just like grazed his fingertips. Like it was literally like we're talking about skin cells. Difference between us, potentially going down in that series or not.
To be fair, he had the slowest follow-through in the history
that's fine.
of
And also,
basketball shooting.
That series got both Solomon Hill and Jan Mahimny $50 million contracts, like they were Kelsey Clinton or something. Like that did not work out for the other team.
That was the one where Norm had that wild run, right?
That was the same game.
And the
where
ball
Norm,
almost slipped out of his hand when he did that breakaway dunk.
that was there for that. That was super lit.
Yeah.
And then of course they won that Game 7. I think they won by like 1 or 2 possessions.
Oh yeah,
like,
sounds about right.
They barely got over the line, and I mean that's just how it is in the playoffs. Like
Well,
you
you
just
remember,
gotta do whatever it
you
takes.
remember after they beat Miami in the next round, there was huge celebrations at Young Dundas and across the city, right?
So I was really happy for Leafs fans to see that same relief because I understand.
Yeah, a lot of fireworks and honking, outside. I was trying to sleep, but it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little loud.
Was not in my neighborhood.
Not at Caledonia Park.
My neighbor Derek, we slept just fine. It wasn't like Portugal won a game in the Euros.
Nobody was rolling down Davenport.
No, they were not rolling down St. Clair and doing circles around St. Clair like when Argentina won.
Oh man! But yeah, congrats to the Leafs. No, it's good for the city. The energy is good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I sometimes I like to dabble in like a little bit of like friendly hostility between the two Toronto franchises. Is this a basketball city? Is this a Leaf? Is this a hockey city? Like, no, I just think in this situation, like the Raptors are completely irrelevant. So I just really would like to jump on this bandwagon and enjoy it for all of Toronto, really.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Shouts to MLSE for having one good team.
I guess we are also talking Leafs on this program. Man, it's hard not to, man. I was happy for my dad. Called my dad for the first time.
Yeah, congrats.
In 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. This is the first time in 19 years that your dad's seen them in the second round. So,
yo, I'm not even kidding. So I came to this country in 2000.
Y2K.
Yeah. So it was April of 2000. I don't remember following the Leafs in 2000, 2001, or 2002. But
Prime
I did.
Pat Quinn years.
Yeah. Well, I remember Pat Quinn. Salute to Pat Quinn.
R.I.P. man.
R.I.P. Legit. But like I remember getting into hockey, and I remember only ever seeing one Leafs series win, and that was Matt Sundin versus Daniel Alfredsson.
Yeah, basically every time they saw Ottawa in the first round.
Yeah.
Soon to be owned by Snoop Dogg, apparently.
Well, they were previously owned by Matt Sundin.
They took care of business, Shouts to Patrick
Change
Lalime.
management there.
There's a lot of hockey talk right now.
No, but like that's the only series win I've ever seen.
Get me Kipper and Wong, man. Let's go.
Like since I've been in Canada.
Yeah.
I've seen one series win. So
yeah, no,
I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people.
No,
like my little brother was born in 2002.
That's what I'm saying.
He's only ever seen one either.
There's like 19-year-olds, 18, 19-year-olds. This is the first time that they've seen their local hockey team have this kind of success. And the Leafs, I'm not sure if you know, are now the betting favorites to win it all.
Oh, what?
So no pressure there.
Oh, man. Okay.
No pressure there.
All
New
right.
prediction, Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs, Seattle Kraken.
You telling me it's a whole new
Stanley
game?
Cup Finals. Put a parlay on that.
That's a whole new game.
Anyways, all right.
Wow.
We did 6 minutes. Wow. Anything is possible. Basketball this weekend.
Elite basketball.
Adam Silver, you're back in the good books.
Man.
Giving us a night off yesterday too.
Yo, first off, that was a weird one because obviously we had the 1 p.m. game, which is typical of Sundays in basketball. A pretty good game, I would say. Like I would say, like great game, but pretty good. Heat overcoming the
we'll
Knicks
get to that. We'll get to the culture.
But the second game was just like must watch, and not necessarily because the game was so competitive. Like it was competitive for 3 quarters, but just seeing an all-time performance, like that's why you tune in. That's why you block off your Sunday afternoon. After you come back from a buffet.
Yeah, shouts to Clement Chu Johnson for the CCY luncheon. But man. Warriors Kings Game 7. You do talk about watching an all-time. This was the all-time. Steph Curry, first player ever. I was pretty surprised when I heard this stat. First player with 50 points in a Game 7. And after the game too, story came out from Marcus Thompson of The Athletic that after they lost Game 6 on Friday, Steph couldn't sleep. He was checking his phone, rolling in his bed. And at 4 a.m, he got a text from Draymond, and they started talking about how embarrassing that loss was. And also specifically talked about how Malik Monk called him old at the presser after. And Draymond offered, as he does, to speak to the team, before Game 7. But Curry said, no, let me take this one. So before their Saturday film session, Curry basically gathered everyone and told the whole team that he believed in them, that they believed that they had enough to win, and he asked for their trust in return. And he told them to put all their feelings aside in terms of some of the young guys were unhappy about playing time in their role, and told them to just lock in. And he said that if you're coming on this bus to Sacramento, then that means that you're part of this. And then he went out and delivered a 50-point performance in Game 7. I mean, his Game 4 last year against the Celtics, the 43 points when they were down 2-1 at the Garden, at the other Garden, was, I think, a hallmark, moment in his career. But this has to be up there too. This might be 1A, 1B.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just feel like, first off, it wasn't even necessarily how you would think a 50-point game would go for Steph, where he would make like 12 threes. Or he didn't get to the free throw line that much. He shot 3 of 5 from the foul line. He missed back-to-back free throws at one point, and then the next play down, he hit a 3, and then the next time he was at the free throw line, he did this like comically evil grin.
Yo, this is the thing I want to say too before you go on.
Cashed them both.
Before I forget this, like,
go ahead.
I want to say this in the nicest way possible. Like, he is psychotic. Like,
yo,
the way he enjoys eviscerating opponents in these high pressure situations.
It's like a Jimmy Butler style.
Yeah, like I'm sure you've seen the clips too. At one point, he like told the arena to light the beam.
Yeah,
like in the second half.
In the middle of that
and
too.
Apparently, he was directing it at 50 Cent. Sacramento Kings fan who was sitting courtside. And I don't even know what the general public thinks of Steph in terms of his persona, but to me, he's always been one of the best trash talkers in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, man. Pure, one of the best trash talkers. I think even better than Draymond. Because listen, Draymond give you 4 and 7, and then he'll stomp on your chest. That's different from Steph coming into your arena and giving you 50. And telling you to light the beam in a Game 7 as he ends your season.
No, telling the fans to light the beam is so funny.
No, but it's so cutting, it cuts deep because they've been lighting the beam all season.
Anyway,
it's amazing.
I mean, that alone, I think the performance was also incredible. By the way, just because this is the Raptors show, there was a former Raptor who spent a lot of time guarding him the other day. Terrence Davis, who was not good on defense.
We saw the best guard and the worst guard in Raptors history yesterday. Kyle in the first game, and then Terrence Davis in the second one.
No, listen, I get it. Like TD was there to space the floor, and he hit some threes early on. And everyone was like, "Whoa, look at him!" But it's like I'm like, you can't fool me. I'm familiar with your game. Like I was literally sitting on the couch like Shaq, thinking, like I know what's gonna come next. This guy does not know how to play defense.
No, that was Nando's chicken, man.
I actually remember one time I interviewed Fred in the back of a Foot Locker. And I mean in the back. Like there's like a stock room. You know, like we're talking about dead stock. That was dead stock, okay? It was I was literally stock eggs.
Fred I believe was promoting some &1 sneakers.
That's
at the
right.
time.
Which I don't think he was that big of a fan of. But anyway, we were sitting in the back of the stock room, and the camera is like literally 1 feet away from us. And my big head and his small body has to fit into this one frame. And we're drafting players for 3-on-3, like who would win on a 3-on-3, right? And obviously he had, Fred, and obviously I took Kyle as my team captain. And we got down to the last pick because we had one guy off the bench. And I picked Terrence Davis. And then he's like, "Oh, you want TD?" I was like, "Why? Why?" I was like, "What's wrong with TD?" He's like, "Oh, he don't play no defense." And I was like, "Oh, haha." And then from that point onwards, I was looking at it very closely. I was like, "Wow, he really doesn't play defense." Like the amount of times Steph just got by and walked to the rim yesterday without even having a screen, without even like having to throw together a dribble combination to put his man off balance before he can drive. Like the on-ball defense was just so disappointing from Sacramento. And I was just like, wait, Mike Brown, you had a really good strategy here with Davion Mitchell, who I understand wasn't shooting the ball confidently and wasn't giving you great contributions offensively. But hey, you can overlook that if he's, slowing down Steph by any degree. And so, I mean, not a great look for Terrence on defense last night. It really helped contribute to the fact that Steph drove in for so many layups.
Yeah, easy
and that was really impressive to see the diversity in this game, man.
Yeah, I think several of the Kings players didn't show up. Looking at Harrison Barnes, 4 points in 14 minutes. Kevin Huerter really struggled this entire series and was 1 of 6 from 3 yesterday. Only had 7 points. I was pretty surprised by Kevin Huerter's performance in this series, just because I remember him lighting up the Sixers in that Game 7. The famous game where Ben Simmons passed at the end, and it ended his career. And
I mean, when you're a shooter like that, like I just feel like
it's a streaky thing.
It's a bit of a streaky thing, right? Unless you're like one of those like super elite, like Steph Curry types, to be honest, right?
And De'Aaron Fox was 5 of 19.
Yeah,
I'm not sure towards the end of the series if his injury was starting to affect him. And even like Sabonis, you look at Domantas Sabonis, he did have them in the bonus a little bit, but the 22, 8, and 7. 10 of 16. I think
that's a stinky 22, 8, and 7.
That's a stinky tofu.
That's.
I think you look at the box score and it's like, played a pretty good game, but
he played a good half. For the first half, he was legitimately good.
He wasn't there in the second half. Yeah. A lot of his little push shots, hook shots around the basket were just short in the third quarter when the whole team was just going through a drought.
There's something so demoralizing when your opponent is completely disrespecting you and just saying like you can shoot whatever. Like you want to shoot wide open at the elbow, shoot it. You want to shoot a wide open jump hook, shoot it. You want to go and drive into our guy. I mean, I suppose we'll meet you at the rim, but go ahead, shoot it. Yeah. We're not going to send help, right? And like it's demoralizing when it happens to like a Ben Simmons type. It's even when earlier this season that started happening to Scotty, I was like, okay, this is kind of disrespectful. But like Sabonis is going to be on the All NBA team. He's already made an All-Star game this season.
He's on like top 5 MVP ballots of reporters.
What are we like? Damn, like that's got to be so demoralizing. And so I think every time he missed one of those little jump hooks, it was just like it just took a bit of an air out of that crowd, and also the fact that like. Look, what this doesn't show is how many times he was just destroyed by Kevon Looney on offensive rebounds.
Oh,
like
man.
That in the second half, it was just Steph Curry shooting and then Kevon getting any miss.
What do you think was more backbreaking, like a Steph 3 or a Kevon Looney offensive rebound? Because I think
it's the combination of both. Because one goes with the other, man.
Because I think Kevon Looney's rebounds just like broke this team. In that third quarter, because the game was basically tied at the half. I think the Kings were up 2, and then the Warriors started pulling away. But the thing too was like. The Warriors weren't playing that great on offense. They missed, I think they were 4 of 13 from the free throw line in that third quarter. But they got
into the bonus early in that third quarter too. I thought that was like, okay, Adam Silver, let's get it. Let's get it, baby.
Is that why Scott Foster got the assignment?
No, come on, man. The Suns weren't playing.
No, but it's like every time it looked like, the Kings are going to make a pushback. Kevon Looney was just bodying everybody.
Yeah.
Down low, grabbing every board. I love the sequence from Klay too. Like Klay missed 2 free throws and then had a wedgie. And then somehow they got another chance and he hit a 3. Klay was 4 of 19 yesterday. by the way.
Yeah.
Clay be taking some wild shots.
No, the fact that Steph has to play with Clay and Jordan Poole on nights like this when they're acting like this is just so funny to me. Because he has to be the adult in the room for all of those guys, and he's too kind to really like call them out.
I mean, he did call the whole team out,
but like
for the game.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a lot of help. But I think the one thing with Kevon is, first off, I've never seen any player get rebounding highlight packs.
Yeah.
Like, they put that epic, like, Drafts Express music on the back of it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And you're just grabbing boards.
And it's just Kevon, like, leaning on Sabonis. Because the Sabonis will try to box out, right? He would typically try to back him out and whatever, like a typical box out. And Kevon will just, like, lean on him, press down so that Sabonis can't get up at all, and then spring up from behind and grab the rebound. It was very impressive to watch his technique. 10 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, 10 offensive, 21 total. 3 times in this series, he had 20-plus rebounds. First player since Dwight Howard against the Raptors in 2008.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Well, that was tough. He destroyed Chris Bosh in that series.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, and watching this, I'm just like, well, this looks like a Raptors box score. One team shot 100 times. The other team shot, actually 96 times is pretty good for Sacramento. But, like, there is that advantage in the extra possessions. However, obviously the key difference is that, the Warriors,
ball ends up in Steph's hands.
The Warriors can actually, hit the
when
the
they
shot
when they
after
get the second
rebound.
They get the second shot, the ball ends up in a good shooter's hands.
Yeah, but salute to Kevon Looney. And again, it's still blowing my mind that Andy came on here last week and was like, "Yeah, Kevon makes $7 million a year." Like,
they talked about it on the broadcast yesterday. They started, so Andy started the conversation once again before the national media.
Wow.
Andy's always ahead of the curve.
All right, we're giving Andy too much credit. By the way, Andy Lou Banter Pod Wednesday. So look for that Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, long work week coming. No, I just thought, listen, man, like, all credit to the Kings too. Like, I know this was a disappointing performance, and it was a very disappointing second half. But just zooming out and thinking about it, and knowing how much we respect the Warriors, and I think knowing how hard it is to get a team like this, the defending champs, a team that hasn't lost to a Western Conference team in the playoffs since 2014, out in a 7-game series. Like, this was a super impressive performance over 7 games for the Kings. I think they should feel really good about this.
This is harder than any team pushed the Warriors last year when they won the title, and that includes the Celtics.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to put it.
It's really impressive to watch how they went at them. I liked how fearless they were. I liked the swagger that they played with. I like the fact that Malik Monk was like, "You guys are old." Because they went into Game 6 and they actually took it straight to the Warriors. And I know this because several of our friends that we invited to our friends' dinner were watching this game at the dinner on their phone. Shouts to Joe Wolfon.
I will say I'm anti like bulletin board material though. If I was a coach,
what?
Like, just not even calling anyone old or anything.
But that's the thing though. Like,
I would be so kind to the other opponent. That's what Mike Brown did this whole series.
The difference, that's different, man. Mike Brown has connections with the Warriors.
No, but you just got to be careful.
But here's the thing though. Like,
I won't poke bears.
What Dylan Brooks did, that's different because he didn't come out and actually do anything with the performance. Like, I thought Malik Monk played well throughout the whole series. Like last night,
wait for the series to end.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just real shook of Steph and this Warriors team. Like, you don't want to give them any edge.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think they would have won with or without the trash talk.
Man, I kind of wish the Kings had a better second half performance, because then I feel like people would have appreciated Steph's 50 even more, like in a close game. Because like he just kind of pulled away.
But man, that last bucket to get to 50.
Oh my God.
So there's like 3 minutes left. The Warriors are up 15 or something like that. They were pretty safe. And Steph dribbles through. He splits a double team in the backcourt, gets into the front court, splits a second double team on purpose. Like, he's dribbling into the double team just so that he could split them, and then throws in the layup off the glass.
I'm telling
for
you,
50. This guy dribbled
he's psychotic.
Oh man,
I'm telling you, that's
so great.
That's psychotic basketball behavior. It is, because weren't they trapping him too at the end? Like, they were like, I think they were actively trying to not get him his 50. Like, they didn't want him to get to 50.
Well, first of all, I think they started trapping him a little bit too late, but that's a different story. And also, by the way, it's not like you trap the Warriors like all of a sudden like they can't function. Like, they've seen Steph get trapped at the 3-point line since 2015.
The Warriors have seen it all, man.
Yeah.
They've seen it all. They've been and I know you laugh every time I'm like, oh, this is now the 29th straight playoff series where they've won a road game.
Mm-hmm.
But like in so many of these series, they've won definitive road games like this.
Yep.
And just crushed the fan base. They crushed the fan base so hard. They started chanting "Beat LA" at the end, or "Go Lakers." They started chanting "Go Lakers" because they want the Lakers to take out the Warriors. That's how you know they're broken.
They made Sacramento of all
chant
teams.
"Let's go Lakers."
That's first off, Sacramento
broke them.
Have some shame, man. Come on.
No, broke them.
Really.
The Warriors really.
Here's why. Let's go Celtics in Toronto, man. You never hear that, man.
Here's my pitch for why the regular season doesn't matter.
Okay.
Warriors win. They go 11-30 on the road in the regular season. And even us on the Raptors show talked about this like multiple times during the season, trying to figure out the home road split, right?
Yep.
They get themselves the 6th seed, climb out of the play-in. They don't have to be in the play-in. They managed to win 5 and 7 on the road, despite all this. And now as the 6th seed, they get home court advantage in the second round. Like, this is so wild. If I didn't respect Andy Liu so much, I would be hating on them like I was hating on Heat culture, man.
No, man.
The 6th-seeded Warriors have home court starting tomorrow against the 7th-seeded Lakers.
This has to be the lowest seed ever to have home court.
I think this is the first 6-7 since in the 1980s. I did see. Right. I think Tom Haberstroh tweeted that out.
Got you.
But yeah.
I mean, congrats to the Warriors, man. I mean, I have them going to the finals. So
yeah, same. So I'm glad that.
I guess we're not
up.
surprised. But credit to the Kings, man. They played it really well, and I think that's a testament to coaching. Like, no one can look at that roster, which has like no offense, but like Trey Lyles, like Alex Len, Malik Monk, like Terrence Davis. Like, this is not a roster. Like, they have 2 members of the Tampa Bay Raptors, and they're doing this against the Warriors of all teams, including going on the road and winning Game 6 in that dominant fashion. So I just think that, like, yeah, a great coach can come in and really implement a system. And even though the talent on paper is just kind of what it is, you can kind of reimagine it, put together a couple of things, fill them with confidence. I felt like the Kings played with confidence all throughout, except for the second half last night. But, of course, that's where it's like Game 7, second half, like do or die. It's a different scenario. And Steph even taunted them, and he was like, "You're not ready for this?" And he's right. He's right? So, but otherwise, they played with huge confidence, lots of moxie. And I think that, yeah, a great coach can really do that.
Yeah, so
hopefully that happens in Toronto is what I'm trying to say.
What Warriors Lakers starting tomorrow? Want to talk quickly about this?
Sure.
Steph and LeBron facing off for the 5th time in the playoffs. They obviously had those 4 straight finals, and I guess we're not counting the play-in game when LeBron got poked in the eye and saw 3 baskets.
All right, man. Listen, last week when I was at Hoop, one of my contacts rolled up into the top of my eye, but I didn't want to stop mid-game to wash my hand and do all this.
He's also a Warrior.
So I also saw 3 rims.
And he hit a couple threes.
I did hit a couple
with
threes.
With a sliding move that looks like a travel. We might need Victor, the ref,
all right.
to litigate
this. The key is to already moving as you're catching, and then you have 2 more steps.
Yeah.
But it looks like you have 4 steps.
This this is going to be a mammoth second-round matchup, man.
Sure, yeah, of course. I mean, Adam Silver is just like that Scrooge McDuck diving into money right now, man.
Is Scrooge McDuck Disney?
I don't know. I didn't grow up here.
What are the chances you think LeBron goes on a Draymond Green pod after one of the games? Let's go with our favorite storylines. That's my first one.
No, Draymond podcasting. Draymond's gonna be like, all right, and the 3 stars from Lakers Warriors game 1. LeBron, number 1.
Draymond always goes in third
Paul.
person. He's gonna be like, Dubs lose game 3, fall down 2-1 in the series.
Yeah.
Draymond Green 0 for 7, ejected in the second quarter for punching Rui Hachimura. But I'm joined by LeBron James, who put up 37, 7, and 7.
You're like, LeBron, what makes you the GOAT?
The funny thing about this like LeBron versus Warriors thing is like you remember after they blew the 3-1 lead, the Warriors, similar to what the Boston Bruins did yesterday.
Oh man, I watched that too, man. Shout out to whoever scored the game-winning goal. I don't
remember the LeBron?
Was it former Leaf, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We already did our hockey. Let's not push it.
You're right.
You remember like LeBron had a famous Halloween party where there was like 3-1 like cookies and like designs, and apparently you had to walk past a corpse of Steph Curry to get into the Halloween party.
No, it was a tombstone.
Yeah,
it
tombstone. Okay, sorry. English not my first language. But like it was a pretty heated thing for a little bit.
That heated?
No,
That's
was
more adorable
though.
than heated, man.
No, like even Draymond
punch cookies right now.
Even Draymond punch. No, but that's pettiness though.
That's
would
petty.
you do that? Would you do
heated.
that? Would you do that to someone that you didn't like in the sports media industry?
You know what? In retrospect, we could have done this on Friday.
Anyways, but the other thing is like, Draymond punching LeBron, getting suspended, all that stuff.
That's more heated. Yeah,
no, it used to be all heated, and now I think like Gary Trent Sr. was saying on Friday, like all modern day rivalries, like these guys are all cool now.
No, but I mean, like I think they're still gonna go at it.
Of course.
And I think that like I was calling my brother about the game yesterday, and I was like, "Yo, this is your Bird versus Magic. This is our Bird versus Magic because I didn't have this either. Like it's just very hard, I think, in basketball these days with more parity and things like that, and also just players changing teams where you can have this sort of rivalry that you can see over multiple series, right? And I think that obviously the Cavs and the Warriors gave us that. Now that LeBron has now reestablished himself in LA, like you can get this now in the second round. It's just fun. You're more familiar with the storylines. You can kind of pick off of where they left off. And yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see how this matchup will go. I mean, I think it's going to be very different. The Lakers are going to play they're like the exact opposite of the way the Kings want to play. But yeah, I think for the Warriors, like, you know, I think they still have the advantage because who's the best player in this series? I think it's still Steph. No, like
of course,
exactly.
Steph, no, but I think you compare Steph and LeBron, right? We talked so much in the first round about LeBron.
Yeah,
just not. He didn't have that, and I don't think he has it in him anymore to be able to just like be that guy that single-handedly carries a team.
Are you Malik Monk calling him old right now?
I am calling him old.
You Dylan Brooks right now?
I'm not going to respect LeBron in the second round until he drops 40.
What happened to the team? What happened to Team 38 boys?
Oh my God! I'm gonna talk to you during the break.
I don't care. He's old.
Whereas Steph, the other thing about Steph, I know we marvel at what LeBron is doing as a 38 boy, like. What Steph is doing, as I believe a 34 boy, it's amazing because I think back to like 2016 finals, right? That's when they lost the 3-1 lead, the 73-9 team. Like, man, I can't believe that was 7 years ago, and we're looking at a Steph 7 years later, arguably a way better player, like a way better player, in my opinion. Like you talked about yesterday, the threes weren't falling. And in a lot of the games,
no, hold on. The threes were still falling. No,
listen. The threes, but what I'm saying is like he's so much craftier now. He's so much in control.
I agree.
Of the game now, right? And I don't know. Like I guess I'm just a Steph stan, man. I'm in marvel of
of course.
What he's doing. Like it's actually mind blowing to me.
This is gonna be a great series. I'm also curious because like AD in the past has given Draymond a ton of problems, but that was AD in the past. Like we're talking about like Pelicans AD. You know.
Oh yeah, Draymond did a great job of him. I remember in that playing game.
Yeah. So I mean, I just feel like
a lot of great matchups.
I feel like I'm really hoping that this also goes 7.
This also the D'Lo revenge series. Remember D'Lo spent 4 months with the
yeah, that was weird
with the Warriors, and Steve Kerr's like, I got one Jordan Poole already, man.
But you know what? Shout out to Bob Myers because he was able to turn KD leaving into a giant
into D'Lo
into a sign and trade.
Yeah.
For D'Angelo Russell, who then he was able to flip into Andrew Wiggins only because Karl Anthony Towns said, I want my best friend on the team.
And Wiggins was like the second best player on the Warriors last season in the playoff run.
Yes. So, I mean, Wiggins is going to be obviously very important in this series. He's going to be guarding LeBron. Also a very underrated storyline, right? Because the whole LeBron back to Cleveland thing started with him trading Wiggins out of there.
He wrote the letter and didn't include Andrew Wiggins' name in it, his return to Cleveland.
You remember Wiggins, whenever he was with the Timberwolves, the very rare times he matched up with Cleveland, he would always go off against LeBron. Like his career average was highs against Cleveland in terms of versus any other team. The second team, by the way, was Toronto. Yeah. So Wiggins could have had that extra gear. So I'm curious to see like that matchup as well.
Austin Reeves, Clay. I know Austin Reeves and Klay Thompson are going to get into it. At some point, Reeves is going to cross him up and give him the 2 small, and Clay's gonna flash his 4 rings.
Well, LeBron's gonna say 4 right back to him, man. That's gonna
these guys are just gonna be flashing rings back at
That's gonna be hard.
Which player do you think is gonna show up with a championship ring in the tunnel first?
Yo, I actually want them to all show up with like the rings on a chain or something. Play with the rings on their finger, man.
Oh man,
yeah.
This is gonna be an all-time series, and like
again, Adam Silver has to be thrilled. Man.
Everybody in the world is going to be watching. Like this is like a worldwide matchup.
Yeah.
For people. So do you want to make a prediction?
I mean, I have the Warriors going to the finals, so I'm going to say Warriors in 7.
Okay, I'll go.
Maybe 7 is too many, but I mean, 7 seems hopeful. I'm hoping for 7 games of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Warriors in 6.
Okay,
I think winning
in LA.
I think they're locked in, man.
Is Draymond gonna high five LeBron afterwards? He's gonna be.
Oh yeah, did we talk about this? So on the podcast.
Oh god.
Yesterday.
Draypod, are they above us now? Or
Draypod,
no?
Please check.
Checking right now.
Draypod said. Because Domantas Sabonis did not shake Draymond's hand after Game 7 as they walked off the court, and Draymond,
a real shocker.
Draymond said he lost respect for Domantas Sabonis. Who is in the right here? Which side are you taking?
Okay, I don't think anyone's really in the right or in the wrong. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, when I play, I always shake hands with everyone afterwards, but obviously it's not to this level.
Still number one.
Also never been stomped on. We're still number one. Okay, this is great in basketball. This is, wow, this is true upside here. Don't listen to the Dre pod. You've already heard it here.
Yo, I will give you everything you need to know from the Dre pod.
Yeah, don't worry.
For the whole second round.
You're good. You're getting a 2-for-1 on this podcast. But I do feel like, okay, so if Sabonis doesn't want to shake Draymond's hand, that's cool. But at least shake everyone else's hand.
Yeah.
Like, what Steph didn't do anything to you.
I would have not.
Shake Kevon Looney's hand, man.
No, if I was Sabonis, that's the one guy I'm like, yo, man, this guy beat me up so hard. I can't even look him in the eye,
man. I would come out, shake everyone's hand except Draymond's hand. That would send more of a message.
Looney versus Sabonis on the court together in 183 minutes in this series. Yeah. Looney was a plus 44.
Yeah.
That's dominance.
And Sabonis was minus 44, by the way. He also had more rebounds and more assists. And even though Sabonis had twice as many shots, I think Sabonis took way more shots, obviously, than Kevon, who was way more efficient. So, I mean, damn, that's the best deal in the league, man.
Yeah.
$7 million?
No, we should do it.
We paid Otto $6 million.
Oh, man. We should do
We paid Otto $6 million for 8 games.
For days off. Yeah, we should pull up all the $7 million players at one point. Yeah. Maybe we can do that during the break.
Okay. No, but this Draymond thing with the handshake is funny to me. It really is funny.
Yeah. So you're not taking a side on that one.
I just think Sabonis missed the opportunity to shake everyone else's hand except for Draymond.
Okay, that's cool. The move.
Also, Sabonis, by the way, at the end of the series, man, this guy had like 2 black eyes, but on the same eye.
Oh, man.
His eye was so destroyed. I know his ribs are hurting. I know his pride is hurting. I know his back is hurting from Kevon leaning on him. Like, that man looked like
he went to war.
He actually looks like he needs like just a vacation.
He went to war.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take that break? Is that what you want?
Yeah. I was going to ask you any final last words on the Grizzlies since we didn't get a chance to talk about the end of their season.
I mean.
You're good?
No, this whole season just became so much about distractions, right? And I think that, hopefully the next time we talk about the Grizzlies, the next time we see them in the playoffs, because obviously they're going to be back, it's just like.
That's what I do. I talk.
No, I you know what? No more, like, less talking, right?
Their general manager, Zach Clement, did say at his end of season presser that they're going to take a different approach when it comes to trash talk.
But how's he going to do that, though? Like, I guess he has to, like, move Dylan Brooks.
Yeah. Although moments later, Dylan Brooks took the podium and said he doesn't regret anything.
I poke bears.
So we'll see. Ja Morant also said he let the team down with his off-the-court issues this season.
Right.
So I think there will be a growing up, like you said.
It's a young team. They'll grow up a little bit more. I also think that there are structural issues with that team that, they'll probably look to improve. But clearly they have a great talent base to build off of. The fact that they have Ja, Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. to build around is just so ideal, man. Like,
I feel like they need one more guy. I don't know who that is.
No, they definitely need someone on the wing that's a little bit better. Like, I mean, the
OG
fact that they
Anunoby?
had Xavier Tillman guarding LeBron a lot of those games, I'm like, yo, it kind of worked, but
I think
also
I think that said more about LeBron than Xavier Tillman.
Okay, that's fair, but ultimately, like, they have a good talent base. They just need to build on it. They have lots of time, but yeah, I mean, it's a maturity thing. Like, young teams go through this all the time, and yeah, I mean, even Dylan. Like, I think they can keep Dylan.
I think they gotta cut.
Where's he going?
They gotta move on. I don't know. Houston Rockets.
Would you take him here?
No. Definitely
That's
not.
A sharp no, huh?
Definitely
right,
not.
man.
Also, he made LeBron tweet out a lyric from Jay-Z's worst album, Kingdom Come.
Can you explain?
No, it's just a track called Trouble. And it's just about, like, young heads, old heads.
Got you.
Like the young heads disrespecting. But
so it's like Death of Autotune, but which is younger
Kingdom
rappers.
Come is Jay-Z's, like, worst album. Like, nobody quotes this.
Isn't that a Coldplay song?
Yeah, it also is. But I don't know. Like, LeBron's listening to Kingdom Come during this playoffs. What's going on, man?
Well, LeBron also said he was reading The Godfather like
page,
5 or 6 times. This guy said he read it every series, and then they were like, "What's your favorite part?" And he's like,
"He's
somebody
like,
to pick
all of them."
Yeah, it's a great book.
All right, I'll let you have this break.
All right, we're gonna go to break. I've been your host, Willu. That's Alex Wong. You're listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wayne Liu. Continue to be joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. We have some shout-outs before we get to our next topic because, honestly, we had a pretty great week, man. So,
yeah,
we want to shout out.
Just my sister's messaging me wanting a Alec Manoah bobblehead. So,
okay.
Anyways, shouts to our friends at Hong Shing.
Yo,
for
big shouts to
hosting us on Friday. Friend of the program event. We had people who helped us with the show, people behind the scenes there. It's super fun.
Yeah, we touched on it last week, but we just really wanted to put together a little thank you to all the guests and all the producers and photographers, all the other people who really help us with the show. And so we had a group of 20 hit up Colin and was like, "Yo, can we get the private room?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem."
Plus, we had to cap the numbers, so
Sure, yeah. No plus ones because
it's always politics.
It was out of pocket, but he was like, no problem. We got you the private room. He made us a set menu. Kind of made some alterations. You know what I mean? Dietary restrictions, all that kind of stuff. It was an amazing thing though. Like, we had lobster, we had pork, we had beef, we had chicken. It was like literally across the spectrum. All right, dumplings, all that kind of stuff. It was amazing. So yeah, shouts to Colin for showing us a good time.
Yeah, I went to karaoke after, but the details, the karaoke full recap will be coming on the Banter Pod.
Oh yeah,
on Wednesday. Lots of notes.
Too many sensitive details. You're gonna have to listen to like hour 2 of the podcast for
on that. Shouts to Patois and Chronic Inc. last week. Invited us to this cool event.
I mean, you were invited.
Oh yeah,
I did not get the invite.
My bad.
It's okay.
My bad. For once,
it's all good.
For once, Will was left out.
It's all good.
Shouts to Craig and Ivy, Ricky from Chronic Inc., Tony from Sunday's Coffee, and Jonathan of the Patois family, who's a huge fan of the Raptors Show. So,
that's awesome,
Jonathan, stop wearing inappropriate shirts to parent-teacher meetings.
Oh, okay.
Is the message. And also, shouts we mentioned earlier, CCYA had us for a luncheon yesterday.
That's right. I was in
shouts to Clement and Johnson.
I was at Bamberg Circle on Saturday.
Yeah, that's Cash's home turf.
Which is basically Markham at that point, man.
Scarborough and Markham are not the same.
They're so close. It's like a 5-minute drive from there.
They're not the same.
Okay, well, ultimately,
you keep telling people I'm from Scarborough. I'm from Markham.
Okay, but
you're disrespecting Scarborough legends like Joseph Cacharo and Frank and Maria.
If I can see Steels, I can see Markham. Okay?
That's not how it works.
Anyway, it is for me, man. That was like, it took me literally an hour and a half to get home.
So you're at the Berg, you're at the Bamberg,
and then the next day I was getting a ride with you. Shouts to you first off for scooping me to go to Markham.
Yeah, that took all my energy.
It would have taken me 2 hours to transit there.
Man, that traffic on Allen Road, you know what I'm saying?
No, there's the traffic on Eglinton to get onto that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was tough.
LRT coming never.
Yeah. Anyways, shouts to everybody.
It was a great buffet, man.
Yeah, it was great. So
what do you want to talk about?
Well, we didn't get a chance because Gary Trent Sr. came in like a tornado last Friday.
Yo, legit, man.
And we didn't get a chance to touch on some updates on the Raptors head coaching search. By now, everybody knows, I think, as Woj reported last week, it's a long list of assistant coaches who have been granted permission to interview with the Raptors. One of them, Jordi Fernandez from the Sacramento Kings, already conducted his interview last Friday. Mark Spears reported that the interview was done on Zoom at 6 a.m. Pacific time from his hotel in San Francisco.
That's tough, man. I'm sure the schedules are whatever. It's a big job interview. Yeah. Of course, you would just say yes, but
also if you're Jordi, are you can you be like, oh, let's reschedule? Like, you might only get one chance to blow.
I mean,
like Eminem.
I guess, but. 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we do that for morning show. Yeah.
No, we don't. We do 8 a.m. and we specifically request 8 a.m.
Shouts to Daniele. Let's try to make those 8:30 from now on.
That's not possible, man. Sometimes it's possible, but we're already getting first class treatment. No, but it's great. This list, it's got Golden State's Kenny Atkinson.
Yep, who famously accepted the Hornets job last year and then backed out. After the Warriors won the championship, he said, I think I'm just going to stay here.
I think he talked to his family, and his family was like, no. So
no, it was a good call.
What can you really say?
It was a
good call, too, by the way.
Yeah, Milwaukee's Charles Lee.
Yep. Kevin Young in Phoenix, Mitch Johnson in San Antonio, Jordi Fernandez, we mentioned from Sacramento, Darko Rajakovic and from Memphis, and also Chris Quinn in Miami.
Heat culture disciple, Chris Quinn.
He's
that's Spo's like closest guy, man.
He's been there for a long time.
That's Spo's like number 2 guy on the bench. You always see them interacting together.
Woj also mentioned that Becky Hammon, who's obviously the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, is going to receive an interview as well. She actually was asked about it, I think.
The Aces unveiled their new practice facility over the weekend, and one of the questions was about this rumor about her interviewing for the Raptors job, and she said, quote, "I'm not commenting on Toronto. This is about the Aces, and I won't take one moment away from these women to talk about those boys."
Yeah.
That was her comment.
No, which I think is perfectly fair. I don't think the timing is very ideal at all, especially with the WNBA going to start up soon. But, I think it's a good list. By the way, that's not the whole list. From what we've heard, it's like 25 people on this list.
Yeah.
So this is like actually only a third of the list.
Yeah, I would say this will probably take, like you speculated too, like I think this is going to take the entire month of May.
I mean, if there's going to be 25 people involved in this thing, I mean, you can only imagine what the timeline would look like.
Happy Asian Heritage Month, by the way.
Word?
Forgot
this is when you're going to do it?
No, I forgot up top.
That's fine.
Maybe we're,
as we always say on the show,
era.
every single month.
This is why
Asian
I forgot, because I carry myself like it's Asian Heritage Month every day.
But yeah, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. They're going to have a lot of people that are going to be involved. But I think it's a good list. I think clearly they really want to look at newer voices. The only head coach on this list in the NBA side is Kenny Atkinson, who formerly was
knifed in the back by KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, they were just like, we're good. We don't need a coach.
You know what? We're fine in the East. We're fine without a coach.
Yeah, that's so
but just sign DeAndre Jordan to $50 million, and we're fine in the East.
Yeah, that didn't really work out, but ultimately, nothing in Brooklyn ever does. But
no, I like this list.
It's all assistants. You know what I mean? And then of course, Becky obviously is the head coach with the Aces, but obviously was a longtime assistant with the Spurs as well. So they're clearly looking to find a new voice, bring some new energy. A lot of these players, a lot of these people are known for their development, their hand in development too. And I think that's obviously a pretty clear emphasis for the Raptors. They want to get back to being able to develop talent, grow their own talent, because obviously we know signing people is not going to ever work out here.
Yeah.
And so, I like the approach. I like the direction. It's very hard to say like who, should have a leg up on who in this scenario, just because of the fact that, most of these people, you don't really get to know them that much. You really need to go through the interview process. So I think for a lot of fans, we want to attach ourselves to we want this guy, or whatever, right? And it's just it's not really possible to do that with assistant coaches. You have no idea sort of who's really doing what. Until you really interview them and get to know their philosophies. I think the one thing that's really cool is, I've been able to find a lot of extended interviews with a lot of these candidates. So I've been listening through them. They're all an hour long. It's cool, just to get to hear from these coaches. And I think, in Toronto, if you ever notice, you never hear from the assistant coaches. The only ever time you ever hear from them is they're at a charity event, which obviously, it's a 2-minute interview about the charity event. Or it's you hear about them when Nick is gone and there's an assistant coach who's in the interim, like Adrian Griffin. You don't get to see extended interviews with a lot of these other guys. Whereas I think that when these job opportunities come up, maybe it's not so much for the front offices because they have access to those people anyway, but for the fans, you can't really get to know who Adrian Griffin is, because it's harder to find content about them and sort of them talking about their philosophies because there's so little access to those assistant coaches. Whereas you can actually find hour-long interviews with all these players and all these coach candidates that you can get to know a little bit about their philosophy.
Yeah.
So I think that part's actually kind of
cool. I think that's super cool, and I love this list too. And I think about it too. Since Masai's come back, run this team, the coaching has been he hasn't had a chance to do this full kind of refresh. Dwayne, he inherited Dwayne Casey as a coach, and then Nick Nurse was part of Dwayne's coaching staff. And we heard so much about Masai talking about just the need for changes in culture and things like that. And I don't know, maybe they end up hiring someone like an Adrian Griffin or Earl Watson, someone that's already on the staff. I would actually prefer if they brought in someone from the outside with their own, like you mentioned, philosophy and be able to kind of just start from scratch, right? Because I think as much as this head coach needs to be really good at all the stuff you need on the court, like X's and O's and stuff, I think so much of this next person coming in has to be about establishing a culture, establishing a standard, establishing how you communicate with players, how you communicate with assistant coaches, right? So many problems came to the forefront this season. And whether it's fair or not, this next person coming in, whether it's Becky Hammon, whether it's Kenny Atkinson, or whoever it is going to have to take on those things and really fix all those things, right?
Absolutely.
So No, the fact that this is a wide list, I know we started at the very beginning. It was like, oh, Ime Udoka looks like that's the guy that's going to be coming in. I'm actually more excited about this process, knowing that they're going to talk to like this wide range of people.
Yeah, I didn't think they were ever going to just be like, okay, we fired Nick and now next week Ime is going to be in here. Like, I think they were always going to go through this process.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, like we said, there's a lot of candidates, so it's gonna.
Is there someone? I mean, based on your own little scouting, is there someone where you're like, oh, this is interesting about this person?
It's honestly, it's really hard to say. It really is hard to say. Like, I think you really need to get to know them, get to see their personality traits, how that jives with the front office and all that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna do a little studying on Chris Quinn, man. I feel like maybe we do need to import some Heat culture over here.
No, I mean, he's definitely been there a long time. Obviously, a former player as well. You know, obviously the Heat are known for player development. They talk about it in every broadcast how like half the team is undrafted. You know, and that's actually kind of cool. Like, that is actually really cool that they're able to do that. So, you know, it was interesting because I had a lot of conversation just with some of the women basketball fans in my life about the idea of, you know, Becky potentially coming here. Wanted to hear their perspective in terms of, okay, well, you know, she's on the list. And I think what was surprising to me, and I didn't really take in this perspective, is just how many of them said, like, I hope this is an actual chance and she's getting a real interview rather than her name's getting tossed in here for more publicity. Yeah. Because I think from their perspective, because this has happened so many times already, there is a bit of like a skepticism almost, right? Is she seriously being interviewed, or is it sort of to bring attention to your head coaching search?
Yeah.
So I think that's a perspective I didn't really appreciate, because I just thought, oh, this is cool that they're going to interview Becky, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, the timing's not ideal with her current job, but you know, the NBA obviously, you know, there's a lot more money in that. But yeah, I was a little surprised to hear that. So.
No, I think the skepticism is warranted, you know, based on the fact that I think how men and women coaches and like across different sports have been treated. And, you know, no, I think it'd be just disservice to like Becky's resume as a player and as a coach too, right? Because like you think about all the things we talk about Nick Nurse and like the things that maybe like didn't connect, you know, as a people person, right? Like, you know, like from afar, like following Becky's career, you know, seeing how the Spurs players have talked about her when she was there, and obviously seeing what she's doing with Aces. Like, I think she checks.
She won it with the first year there.
No, I think she checks all the boxes there, because like you want someone that comes in, and I always talk about like I think about Ty Lue sometimes too, because like I'm a big Ty Lue fan, and I'm like a former player sometimes can garner a type of respect that someone like a Nick Nurse, you know, like someone who actually played in the NBA and like played at a high level, like can garner respect from your players. Maybe more sometimes,
I guess.
In certain situations, and I think Becky checks that box too, like having all that experience.
Absolutely.
So I think it'll be super interesting as they start narrowing down that list, and I'm sure we'll continue.
It's a long list, though. It's a long list
as we continue to talk about it. And now it's time for Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. There's 2 games in the NBA tonight. The late game is Denver-Phoenix Game 2. We didn't even get to that series. We'll get to it tomorrow. But first up, Sixers-Celtics open round 2 in Boston. Joel Embiid is expected to miss tonight's game and expected to miss at least the first 2 games of this series with a knee sprain. It's not looking good.
I did see him on the court gingerly taking warm-up jumpers. But like he was barely moving.
But all accounts from Philly is that people have said, quote, it'll take a miracle for him to be in the first 2 games.
What happened to his knee?
I don't know. Apparently it's more than a grade 1 LCL sprain, which usually means you should be out 4 to 6 weeks. So it's looking like he might miss the entire series at this point. And if he comes, he's going to have to play with a brace and obviously be very limited. Celtics are 10-point favorites at home tonight to open up game 1. Who do you like, William?
You know, I feel like, so for me, I had the Celtics as my championship pick. However, I did like the looseness that they played with at times in that Atlanta series. They had a real chance to close them out in game 5. They didn't. They had to play an extra game in game 6 in Atlanta, and that game was fairly close as well. So it's just like, you know, I just think that I think the Celtics need to sort of get into their playoff gear. Like I thought that they played that first round series at a regular season intensity. However, I just think that they have a lot of matchups in their favor, especially if Embiid's not playing. That's not a surprise whatsoever to say. I mean, Maxi's had a struggle against this series. I think James Harden's going to really have to score. I haven't seen a lot of scoring from him. He shot like under 30% on 2s in the first round. So there is a different pace that the Sixers are able to play with when Embiid's not out there, and they're able to, go smaller and spread it out. The thing is, the Celtics are very good at playing that style. So even though the Celtics are favored by 10 points, I'm going to take the Celtics.
Wow, this is the first time I feel like you've taken a double-digit favorite.
Yeah,
that's a lot of confidence.
I could show confidence in the team that
you're bleeding green.
Confidence,
you're a Celtics fan. All right, that was Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game.
All right, that does it for us on the podcast. Today, I've been your host, Willu, and you've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find The Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review the show. Reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360, Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Thanks once again to producer and co-host Alex Wong, our board producer Derek Brandale, Jennifer Olin for helping on the YouTube stream. Speaking of YouTube stream, Kipper and Bourne coming up next to talk about the Team of Destiny. I can't wait. I'm going to be locked in. All right, I'll talk to you soon.